All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Rome, and this is the Motorola Razr Fold. It's been about a week with it, and in this video, we're gonna go over a few things. But if you've seen the Motorola Razr comparison with the Oppo Find N6, majority of this won't be new. So if you haven't, go check that video out though and hang out here as well, because there are a couple of new things that I want to cover here and how my mind has changed from my initial review of the device. Not review, but my initial thoughts of the device. All right. So with all that being said, let's get into it. All right, so please forgive my voice. I'm just getting over some type of sickness, whatever it was, or whatever, a little cold. So my voice is going in and out, but I'm gonna fight through this, all right? We're gonna go over our basics. So front screen, very nice. You got your buttons over here. And I can say that from my initial thoughts on the device to this video, my opinion really hasn't changed on this AI button. I noticed someone left a comment on one of my previous videos saying that, hey, they really place these buttons based on the phone being used while open. And I get that. I understand that. I do. I get it. But even while open, I'm not holding the phone all the way up here, and I'm not using the phone like this. I'm still, even while open, I'm holding the phone down here, and I have to reach up to get to those buttons. And I know that the AI button, it makes sense while open, but while closed, I'm still bumping that button while trying to fumble around and find the volume rocker and stuff like that. So I just don't care for the placement of it. Now, I'm not opposed to it being on that side of the screen, but maybe somewhere lower. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling that placement. Okay. So I understand what you guys are saying. I get it. I get it. But anyway, I do, in a world where like a lot of companies are going with this circular camera module, I respect what Motorola did here. They did their own thing. They put that brick up there in the corner and they have their individual cutouts for the cameras. And speaking of cameras, this is a triple 50 megapixel setup on the back. So they showed out for this to be their first foldable device. They really cut up. They showed out, and it doesn't protrude an insane amount from the phone. So just a lot of respect for what Motorola has done with this device as far as design goes. And while it may be slightly thicker than some of the other foldables that have been around for a while, this thing is thin. I don't care what anybody says. This thing is thin, impressively thin. I think this is the sweet spot for foldables. If you want to go a little bit thinner with the Oppo, like the Oppo Find, like Oppo did with the Oppo Find N6, that's fine. But I don't think they need to continue to pursue thinness. This is good. This is solid, and I trust this device. It feels sturdy and solid in hand. I don't feel like I'll break it by any means. I'll open this thing. I'm not gentle with my devices by any means, so I have no concern when opening and closing this device as well. You have your usual stuff down here. You have your speakers on the device. And I'll say that initially I was concerned about the speakers being on both sides, on the same side of the screen. So when open, if I may cover them when I'm consuming media, but that hasn't been a problem, especially since they put both of them on the opposite side of the camera module. I'm not concerned about covering those speakers when I'm consuming media while it's open. So that is a good thing. Motorola, I mean, and the texture design on the back, I love this. This is so different from what I'm used to with the smooth backs on the devices, on other devices. Don't get me wrong, I love the color schemes on some of the others, but on the back of this device, even on like a device like this, it still had a smooth back. I love that they went with this textured back on the back of here. So kudos. I mean, I got a lot of praises for Motorola. They came out of the gate competing with the likes of, in the US market, the likes of Samsung and Pixel. They have been around. They made a few foldables and they come out the gate swinging with this solid first iteration of their device. And I think that this device is so well designed that this is going to keep them around for a while in this folding. Now, of course, they've had their clamshells and slab phones for a while, but I think that they have a solid contender in the folding phone market. What do we call these now that a lot of companies are starting to do, like the wide versions of these devices? Do we call this the slab foldable? So we understand that we're talking about the taller version. because we have the wide for the wider versions. I don't know. I just been thinking about that. What do we call these now? But anyway, yeah, well-designed device, beautiful screens on the inside and outside, 50 megapixel cameras on the back, and they have a 32 megapixel camera inside the device, and I think it's a 20 megapixel on the front. They have packed the device. They have a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, and that battery, we could talk about that just a little bit because there's no need. Much love to the battery in this device because this thing holds up like crazy. I don't know if they've done something with their software or not, or what. I'm not real familiar with Motorola's software outside of the Motorola Razr 2025, and I just did not care for that device whatsoever. My wife, she bought it and she was excited about it because we were just going to live through those nostalgia moments. And yeah, she just had problems almost from the beginning. The first day was kind of smooth, but afterwards, the software just started to feel clunky. I have it here just to show you guys that I do have it. But let's see, like in the screen cracked down the middle, so it's not fully functional anymore. I mean, this thing went down fast, people. So I really honestly did not have high hopes for this particular device. But from this to this, and I know that this experience may be just one of the rare occasions. So I'm not bashing them by any means. I'm going to sit that over to the side. I'm not bashing them by any means, but I just did not have high hopes for this coming from what we experienced with this device. But this device feels like night and day from that one. Software feels like good. I haven't had a single hiccup on here at all. And I'm doing 1 week later on here because not one. I normally do 1 week later. But my wife is going to kill me if I don't get this device reviewed and get it to her because she is really excited about it. She wants it. So software is great. Notifications look good on the lock screen, even without the always on display being full screen like what I'm used to. I actually like this. I do kind of prefer my notifications to have some type of color to them so I could tell them apart from a distance. But this is perfectly fine. Notifications come through good on here. I haven't had any issues. I haven't missed anything. Everything's good. You know what? Now, while we're on software, let me open this up because I love this in the display, and we're going to talk about software a little bit, okay? Software customization. The software is good, but the customization, the menus still feel somewhat unfamiliar to me, even after spending a week with the device and going in here and constantly customizing and things like that. I know it'll get better the longer I spend with the device. I get it, but some of these menu options just don't make sense to me. If I'm personalizing my device, I expect I would say a solid 95%, somewhere between 90 to 95% of my options to be under personalized. But when it comes to icons and always on display and things like that, that stuff is dropped under home screen and lock screen. Now, you look at that, you be like, well, what are you complaining about? That's under home screen and lock screen. Those things are on the home screen and lock screen. Okay. But if I were to go in here and go into personalize and I go to lock screen, those options are not here. Put them on the both. I mean, if you're going to do it, put it on both, or just get rid of this menu and put it on the personalized. I don't know, but this just is kind of odd to me. Okay. But if I go under this menu and go to lock screen, I can customize my lock screen, my clock faces, my things like that. And I have to go a layer deeper for like always on display. So deep sleep display, always on display, have it turned on, so on and so forth. And it's fine. Once you get in there and start digging around things, they work. They work. I will say that icon shape, you have a few options there, but if you want to get to your other icon options, you have to go back under homes, go to home, and you can turn on your themed icons. And then once you turn your themed icons, you have to go back to personalize and go to color. You see what I'm getting at is, you have to stumble around a bit. Let's save and see the icons are blue. Yeah, it's kind of weird to me. That's all I say. I won't beat them up. Otherwise, the software runs extremely smoothly. And I actually like the dark icon. Oh, and while we're here, really quickly, I do like this option where you can click in here and you can choose from your gallery and go into your gallery and choose like a wallpaper. And in that wallpaper, you can kind of do different things. You can choose where you want to focus and see if where you can pull colors from. Now, I will say that it tends to not match the colors exactly, to what you're clicking on, but it gets fairly close for the most part. So not too bad, but I do like that feature. Really nice. I won't beat up on haptics too much since we cover battery. I like to cover battery and haptics and stuff like that, typically in the same area. So what I do is I'll say that haptics are really good on here. I think I have them turned on. So I'm just going to go to any website and see if they will let me type. I just type an address bar. So yeah, as I'm typing on here, the haptics feel extremely solid. Really good feedback. And as far as notifications and things like that go, I haven't missed a notification. You hear it when it's on a solid surface. You feel it when it's in your pocket. Everything works really well. Speakers, same story. All right, let's find some DMCA free music. It's okay. Free DMCA. I'm always down for some Pokemon. So I'm gonna stop talking just so my mic won't do the noise canceling thing and block out the audio from this. And I'm gonna start over, pause it, and here we go. I'm gonna do 50%, just save a little time. 50% first, and then we'll go full blast. Okay. Okay, so right out of the gate, I'll say that I do enjoy these speakers. Uh, Not as much as I was expecting, but they do get really loud, so you don't have to worry about hearing them in a noisy room. And I can attest to that from my son running around being chaotic while I'm trying to watch videos. So, all right, we're gonna crank it all the way up and then let you guys just hear 15 seconds of that and just kind of build your judgment and let you see how you feel about them. All right. So yeah, you can kind of gauge how you feel about that from there. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and jump into cameras. Okay. I don't think I covered the actual camera menu in the comparison video, but we're going to do it here. And I'll say this. The camera menu, while I do feel like for the most part, I'm used to having a ton of menu options in here and you just don't have a lot, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because you always could go in here and you could add some of these down here below. Let's see, like dual capture video. Do I have to drag it? Yeah. So I place it right there. So it's cool. You can add things in there. And I won't spend a ton of time here. You had a bunch of options. You could choose, you can click on that, do signature style, train AI to create your style. You can do natural, vivid, and that's really it. And then you have your flash, of course, your live photos there, active photos, they call it on here. Not bad. And you have your Google Lens up there, just right in the menus, perfectly fine. You have your normal zoom stuff here, and you have your gallery you can click into and look at the last photo and just swipe through them. You have your action shots here. Good stuff. I'm gonna turn it off because I'm not using. And you have your filters, and you have quite a few options here. I'm not big on filters, so I really haven't tested a lot of them yet. So, you know, it is what it is. And then you have your options up here. Turn display off. I can turn it on. Let's see what that looks like actually. Let's turn it on. You have your cartoon there to make your kids smile while you're trying to snap a photo of them. Okay, let's come back out. And you just have your external display preview on. Let's see if that shows. Yep, you see that? All right. And those are those options. And then you could do this again and turn this display off so you can take your selfie with your main camera. Okay, let's get back in here. And then over here, you have your quick review of your photos and stuff. You know, after you're taking them, blah, 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 it'll show up there. I mean, you have a lot of options here. Is, you know, especially since it's a foldable, you have additional options here that you wouldn't typically have on a regular slab phone. So no complaints there. Here's my gripe. You see that macro shot down there? And I know someone's going to come in and say, hey, there is an option where you can just turn it on and off manually, you know, and then I'm going to be so upset because I haven't found it. But I've been stumbling around in the settings on the camera and I can't find it. It doesn't pop up. Let me see. Unless you're close enough to your object where that button will pop up. I'm just close to my desk, so it's showing right now. But that button will completely disappear if you're not close enough to your subject. And that just blows my mind. It upsets me so much because I want to be able to turn it on and off manually. I dug through here and looked for that setting quite a bit. Actually, you know what I haven't done though? I haven't actually gone into the settings and see if I could turn that on and off manually to show that icon up there constantly. So you have your selfie mirror, air gestures. Let's look at those. So you do this, palm, to capture photos, advanced video control, show your palm. So yeah, I don't see the option to turn that on and off manually to where a button would just stay up there. That would be really, really cool if I could do that. All right, so yeah, that's so weird. Let me see. And here are your cartoon options there. Not a ton, but you get a few. I mean, how often would you use this? So that's pretty cool. I can turn it on. I guess it'll show it down here, whatever. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so yeah, you have quite a few options here. You have your video, you have your dual capture video, which basically shows front and back same time. You have your slow motion, portrait, frame match. All right, and then in here, I showed this this menu before, but you can see your scan, your night vision, panorama, ultra res, pro, phone booth, long exposure, group shot, stuff like that. So all good things. So outside of the macro option just not being available, like just constantly on screen where I can turn it on and off at my whim, that's my only gripe with the camera software itself. Now on to the actual photos. So give me one moment. All right, so photos. I initially was about the photos on here. They're fine, they get the job done. What I will say is I saw this ridiculously sized moth on my patio. What I will say is, as far as zoom goes, it does a decent job. But I'm gonna tell you something. I feel like I thought the AI and all that stuff was a problem on these other phones. Motorola, here's one where I'm not quite zoomed in. But once you start zooming in, the AI kicks in tough. Now it does a decent job of like smoothing things over and stuff like that, but it does kick in tough. Yeah, there's a lot of AI in there. So the zoom itself. So here's the base shot that I take. I like to take a base shot so you guys see how far away from a subject that I am. I thought I had one for, there we go. Here's the base shot. I'm sorry about that, guys. Look, there's the base shot, 24 millimeters. Okay. And even here, the AI didn't kick in heavily trying to overcorrect everything. But once you go past that, 142 millimeters, look at that. That AI is starting to kick in tough. And then even more so here. And what was this one? 710 millimeters, which is insane. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing it by any means. But yeah, look at that. I'm still in a weird place where, you know, I take photos and things like that. And I'm almost like, would I have rather just not being able to zoom out that far and just get decent photos for what I can zoom, that, you know, where I have my optical zoom? Or do I, where does it stop? You know what I mean? Like you get your digital zoom and you zoom in and then the phone, the processing and everything tries to clean everything up. Like you can't tell that is his, beak, bill, what do you call these on these animals? But you can't tell. It just looks all so smooth and like cleaned up. Like you can't even tell really. And that's where, I'm just like, I'm torn. Would I rather not capture the shot or have it and, whatever. But yeah, zoom is not bad on here. Like you can see where we went from 24 millimeters to 71. These look clean. These look nice. But once you get past that, you're trying to clean. Yeah, that I'm gonna pop these up on the screen so you guys see them for yourself. But the AI is just kicking in tough there. The grass still looks good. Everything around it still looks really nice for the most part. But yeah, that AI is kicking in tough. But there we are. All right. And like I said, I'll pop a few of these photos up there. And I even pull in some of the videos, photos I did from the comparison for people that didn't see that video. And I'll let you guys judge for yourself. Okay. And really quickly, once again, base 24 millimeter. You can see where the moth is all the way over there in the distance. And then once I start zooming in, still not terrible, but let's go a little bit further. 236 millimeters, still not a bad photo, but you can see that it starts to look a little more like watercolor on these subjects. And yeah, it starts to look like watercolor, like the antenna. I think that's what they're called on the moth. Just seems, you can see them, but yeah. But like I said, I like to post these things so you guys can see for yourselves, and then we'll come back and wrap this up, okay? All right, so now that you guys have seen the photos for yourself, you can judge for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. You may love those photos, and this is a judgment-free zone. If you like it, perfect. This might be the phone for you. You know what I mean? But with all that being said, praises to Motorola for what they did here. This is a feat. First device. Now, I know that they had time to study what other people were doing and things like that, but actually implementing and doing a great job, they killed it. They knocked it out of the park with this. Especially for US-based customers or whatever, this is a really, really good third option that we have here finally. Now me, I have like, I don't mind importing devices or things like that, but with the Motorola, being able to buy it actually here, you get your warranties, you're able to get products like, accessories and things like that for the device in a timely manner and things like that. So this is a win for the U.S. market. Now, the U.S. market just got to show them some love so they stay around and they see that that people appreciate this, because I feel like Google and not Motorola, Motorola, Google and Samsung, they're really good, but they got to step it up a little bit. They got some competition out here now. You know what I'm saying? So, stylus support on both inner and outer displays. Didn't mention that in earlier in the video, but stylus support on inner and outer display. Samsung, get it together. You gotta get it together. All right. But anyway, this is a go. This is an easy device to recommend. If anybody were to say, hey, should I get this device? Depending on where you're coming from, you know, I may not be able to justify spending that kind of money on this device, but you get your trade-ins on it. You know, they got trade-in offers. You got freebies. I don't know if they're still available, the freebies, but you get freebies and stuff. This is an easy device to recommend to people, you know? So really appreciate you guys tuning into the video. Feel free to like and subscribe. It all goes a incredibly long way. Really appreciate it, all right? So I will catch you in the next one. Later.